Hello my friends, if you like my work, please remember to click thumb up, subscribe to my channel or hit the notification bell to be informed about new videos. I'd just like to say thank you to all my patrons, please join them if you can, the link is in the description below. Traditionally at the beginning a reminder of the state in which we left the model last week, completely ready for painting and dry assembled for presentation. Today I want to paint it to have all the elements ready for weathering. I plan to do a typical Afrika Korps painting with abrasions and visible panzer grey, but also with small touches that will diversify the look of this project, although it's already quite unique. It took a few minutes to disassemble the model and prepare it for painting because there are quite a lot of individual elements that I have to paint separately. Of course I could glue everything into one piece, but the difficulties that would then arise would undoubtedly bring a lot of uncensored and generally vulgar words. And yeah, even though it looks a bit messy and there is a lot of little painting, it will be much less stressful as a result. First of all, I cleaned the elements from the remains of blue tack, which was necessary to keep the whole thing in one piece. Then, wherever it was possible, I drilled holes to attach the parts to wooden sticks. For the cabin I pasted a thicker stick because the trace after gluing won't be completely visible. Even the flak has a small hole in an invisible place. An inseparable step in preparing the model for work is cleaning it of dirt, which in my case is done with the model degreaser. If you watch my videos, it's probably nothing new to you, but if you are here for the first time, I definitely recommend this product. Its main advantage is rapid drying and more precisely evaporation from the surface of the model. The surface is thus prepared for painting. That's why it's worth doing it in gloves, which I forgot about at the beginning. The second important step is to apply a primer to the metal parts, which increases the adhesion of the paint to these elements. One thin layer applied with a brush is enough. Now the fun with the colors begins. Of course the first color is Panzergrau. See what is the difference between RC and Tamiya. The question is what to choose. Despite all the positive attitude I have to Tamiya paints, I chose RC color. Why such a decision? A darker shade is more realistic in my opinion. I know someone is about to say that the paint has faded in the sun, the vehicle have been exposed to a lot of things, blah blah blah. Let's get one thing straight. Fading in the sun takes months or even years. Well, it goes without saying that the life of such machines didn't last that long. Besides, as I've said more than once, the visual effect is more important to me than 100% historical accuracy. That's why I decided to use both paints. You will see how in a moment. Before the correct shade appears on the individual elements, they were coated with easy chipping medium. Of course that will be needed to make a damaged layer of paint. The first light color I use in this project is grau-grey. A few small elements will be painted with it. I mean primarily ammo boxes and additional equipment. Returning to the panzer grey color, this time I used Tamiya paint. I decided to paint flak gun with it, but only on the upper surfaces. That is, I set the model at the right angle so that the paint fell on it only from one side. This will give some brightening that will be useful in the case of this model. I used the same color on the front wheel. And here you can see the difference between both panzer grey shades. One of them will be covered with sand color. We'll see how the composition will look like in its entirety. The right stripes on jerry cans mean that there is water inside. I definitely prefer when it's painted with a brush with visible unevenness. It's not difficult and even easier and faster, and in my opinion gives a great effect. Definitely better than a sticker or stencil airbrush painting. The set that will be mounted under the cargo box has several colors. Of course, both shades of panzer grey and the two colors you see now. I painted the profiles of the frame in dark brown, which will be later additionally treated with a light rusty coating, although the desert dust will probably cover these subtle effects. The small pieces have already dried and I've started scratching the paint on some boxes. This will be visible the most on the two small crates at the back of the vehicle. Ammo boxes are also not perfect, but their final appearance will be prepared at the later stage. Of course, I do this by wetting a surface with water and then gently scratching the paint with the tip of the blade. I glued all the ammo boxes into one element. It's important that it's even, so I used blocks and metal ruler for this. A few drops of super glue did the job and now all 14 crates are one piece. For flak I decided to paint only the shields in a sandy color. In my opinion it will be more interesting, the more that this layer of paint will also be damaged in a moment and the grey undercoat will build the right look of them. I didn't care for the minor soiling of the base at all. It seems to me that even in reality none of the crew would be concerned about getting this element dirty. Almost immediately I started to destroy what I painted. The assumption was to damage the paint, but in small pieces, not at all like with winter camo for example. I worked in small sections, focusing mainly on the edges. Of course I also did some damage in the middle of the individual panels. On the rest of the vehicle I followed exactly the same procedure, first applying easy chipping medium and then applying paint. A characteristic feature of this product is that the amount of paint damage depends on the amount of liquid we apply. If more, the paint is more easily exposed to water and tools and will create a lot of damage. If less, it will take longer to create scratches. That's what I wanted to do here. The damage was supposed to be subtle and quite small. I figured that I could also add them with a brush or sponge in the later stages. I painted all the elements in a more or less precise way. Generally it's a simple method to build different color intensity and thus to an interesting appearance of our model. It may look bad, but I'm sure it will work. And now it's time when you need a little more than 3 minutes to calmly prepare the scratches. I focus mainly on the edges, because here the effect will be the best. Besides, this is the place where the paint starts to fall off the fastest. At the beginning I mentioned the possibility of supporting me on Patreon, but now, having couple free seconds, I would like to thank all my current patrons. You are great guys. Now there is a chance to enter this group without pay a penny for a 7-day free trial. This way you can check whether you like what I publish or not. It would be superb if you join this group. Your support is highly appreciated and helps me do what I do here at coldemonspl. Thanks to this I will try to give you some interesting content to keep you informed and entertained. Thank you very much. The next elements are wheels and tires. The rims are already painted, but the tires have no correct paint at all. Of course, as I have said many times, tires shouldn't be black but grey. There are a dozen different shades that are perfect for this, but I prefer rubber black. A well-rested hand and a good brush are enough to effectively do this painting. Painting the chassis components was so quick and easy that there is not much to say here. There is more to paint looking at the wooden elements on the cargo box. First of all, beams tightened at the edges and DIY shelf for magazines, and of course the flag blockers. I painted everything light brown. A few drops of wash will do the job later, but that's in the next episode. After drying I will add some light tones, but this will be done for a couple moments. Now a bit of chipping painted in typical way with brush and acrylics. Old school. In addition, I did some initial rubbing on the boards to simulate paint damage done by soldiers' boots. I used the same paint for wood as before. First it was dry brushed and then I painted some lighter and more precise scratches. At the end of the work on this element I polished the screws and washers with pencil. As a result, with the license plate already glued, the base colors look very good. I am sure it will look great after weathering. Going back to the wooden elements again, I used acrylic paint with a light shade and I did some more painting. Generally I applied paint diluted in different ratio, irregularly building various intensity of color on individual beams. So this is clearly visible here where the beams have 1 or 2 layers of paint. After finishing painting I started gluing all the boxes I planned to add. Few drops of super glue and the work was done in 1 minute, changing the general appearance. I also installed a set of extra jerry cans on the bottom. The set of decals for the model is not impressive because it's based only on license plates, one Afrika Korps marking and victory symbols on the flag cover. The application wasn't not complicated at all. I would rather say that it was a standard procedure using Sol from microscale. This time I managed not to spill the content. Of course, the markings of downed planes and destroyed tanks look the most interesting. It's not finished yet, but it's pretty close to having ready elements to glue together. The frame for the spare wheel is dark brown. After that I will get a bit of rusty coating, but it will be a very small amount. Of course I painted silver the inside of the headlight and put in the glass cover. I also painted some additional welds. For the driver's seat I used 3 shades of brown, from light to dark, applying paint with a good dilution. The effect is pretty good. We are very close to the end, so if you did enjoy this video, please like it, write a comment, even to say hello, and subscribe my channel. If you have a moment, check out my other videos from How to Paint, Bookshelf and Open the Box series. At the very end I laid the towing cable and painted it in the base color. Now I have all the elements painted and ready to be glued together. To sum up, I need to say that I'm very pleased with the effect I got, but you probably don't expect me to say this model sucks. Okay, but seriously, I love its interesting shape and color variation. In the next episode I will show you the weathering stage, then there will be some video with the base and figures, and right now I'm looking forward to the final result. That's all for today, see you next time, cheers!